Hello, everybody. Well, whew, it finally happened. Yes, indeed, it finally happened. The person whose life we were due tonight discovered our plot, so we can't bring you her life. But let's give a big hand to a grand person, ladies and gentlemen, to Anne Sheridan. Truly a wonderful girl, and she discovered the plot. But every cloud has a silver lining. We were disappointed, of course, but this unexpected event gave us the opportunity to bring to you once again the most controversial, the most talked of, and many say the most inspirational television program of our times, the life story of Lillian Roth. Now, as you watch it, ladies and gentlemen, please bear in mind that Miss Roth was the only person who ever knew in advance that she would be the principal subject on This Is Your Life. And she agreed to let us tell all, because as she says, if it'll help anybody, well, I'm willing. So now let's sit back and watch together again as we turn the pages in the life story of this lovely, talented, and courageous lady. This is your life, Miss Lillian Roth. And here she is. Hello, Lillian. Oh, what a doll. Isn't she wonderful? Lillian, come on, sit down here.
Hi, darling.
How you've seen the show, you know, they sit here. You also know that you're our principal subject, but you certainly don't know what's coming out of the archway there.
No, I don't.
Sure,
I'm very excited.
I'm sure you are, Lillian. It's a privilege to do your life, and if only one person is inspired to follow the course you eventually did, we'll consider it completely worthwhile, won't we?
And I will.
Okay, we have your unqualified permission to tell the whole truth, right?
Right.
All right, now, you don't know whom we have brought out here out of your past?
No, Ralph, I don't.
Good. I just wanted to establish that and make it absolutely clear to everybody. Oh, my goodness, we have a lot of surprise waiting for you, a lot of surprises. This is your life, Lillian Roth. This is the Bloomingdale Hospital for Nervous and Mental Diseases, now known as the New York Hospital, Westchester Division. The year is 1946. That's not too far back in your life, is it, Lillian? Would you like to sit back here and take it easy? It's sort of a long road, but it's an interesting one and a very inspirational road. You're a patient of this mental hospital. Why, Lillian?
Well, I had a problem. Alcoholism, which led to a mental breakdown.
For nearly 16 years, right? Up to 1945, there'd hardly been a day or a night that you drew a sober breath.
That's right.
You were suffering from, as they put it, impending blindness, an inflamed sinus condition, and a form of alcoholic insanity. A long way, Lillian, from stardom on Broadway at the age of 8, in shavings. A far cry from headliner for Florence Ziegfeld at 17. And the lights on the movie marquees with Maurice Chevalier and the Love Parade at 18 are only a memory.
Lillian knew that she was at the end of her rope, so she turned out to be quite a model patient.
Now, the first of the surprises we promised you, Lillian, do you recognize that voice out of 1946? Well, who was the psychiatrist who handled your case at the hospital?
Dr. Head.
Doctor, yes, the man whose gentle understanding started your feet in the right direction. And here he is, Lillian, Dr. J.J. Head, now of Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh, it's good to see you. Oh, well, I never got a chance to tell you how grateful I am. You did try.
Well, you're a wonderful patient.
You have the...
Well, you started it, Doctor. You started it. You helped so much. How are all your little children and
Just
your wife?
fine, thank you.
That's good.
I don't mean to get clinical, Dr. Head, but what kind of therapy did you prescribe for Lillian Roth?
Well, first, Mr. Edwards, a pretty complete physical going over, and then all of the various activities that we have at a hospital of that sort, such as recreational therapy, tennis, golf, so on. But as I remember it, there was one of those activities that Lillian balked on.
Oh, yeah? What was that, Dr. Head?
We called it folk dancing.
Uh-huh.
And you know, most of the patients got to be pretty good at it, including Lillian. She was very good.
Yeah.
But we thought that they were good enough that we'd like to have them put on a little entertainment for us. Yeah. The doctors, and nurses, and other patients. And Lillian just put her foot down.
What'd she say?
She said, "Look, doctor, for 30 years I've been in show business, and now I wind up in the chorus in a mental hospital."
That's what happened.
Oh, but, look, Dr. Head, what was your approach to Lillian's problem?
Well, Mr. Edwards, we tried to go back together over events in her past and her early childhood to see if we couldn't find some of the early frustrations and anxieties that she had experienced that might have played some role in this present difficulty.
Yes. 44th Street between 9th and 10th Avenues in New York, where you lived as a child in a walk-up flat. It's 1916 and you're 5 years old. Now, this is the place you come home to with Katie, your mother, after making the rounds with the theatrical agents, after hours of study at the Professional Children's School.
Remember, Lillian, the good old PCS? Didn't we have fun?
Now, do you know who that is, Lillian? She was with you at the Professional Children's School. She became a great and beloved picture star, Ruby Keeler.
Oh, Ruby.
And here she is.
God, it's so glad to see you, darling. That was great. We were together. Yes. Oh, it's wonderful to see
Well, it was
you.
quite a bunch of talent you had there at one and the same time in this professional
Well, I should say
school
we
for
did
kids in New
have
York.
talent.
Who else?
Well, there was Milton Berle,
Jean Raymond.
Jean Raymond, Marguerite Churchill. She was smart,
Oh,
though.
and wasn't she beautiful?
Oh, beautiful.
I always admired her and her beautiful long fingernails and red hair.
Yeah.
Yes, and Helen...
This sounds like girl talk. Maybe I'd better go.
Tom Brown. Let's see. Oh, Jerome Mann. Remember
That's
little
right.
Jerome
I
Mann?
certainly
Yeah.
do.
Busy
Oh,
kids.
gosh, just...
Oh, just so many.
And
so
busy
many.
mothers, too, trying to give their offspring their first chance in show business. eh?
Oh, that's true. But I think that Lillian and her sister Anne were the busiest.
Oh, I don't know. You were the most beautiful.
Oh, please. Do you know, Ralph, that Lillian and Anne were at the Palace Theater in New York? I think Lillian was 9 and Anne was 7.
You played the Palace?
That's
when you-
right.
Uh-huh. And they
Oh.
did impersonations. Lenore Ulrich, John Barrymore, Lionel Barrymore,
That's right.
Ruth Chatterton. Anybody around.
Oh, that's
Ask her to do.
At the party afterwards, maybe. Ruby Keeler, bless you
wonderful
for
to
being
see you,
here.
darling.
I know that Lillian is just thrilled to see you.
I
Will you
am.
have a seat there, please, with Dr. Head?
Thank you.
And thank you, Dr. Head, too. Here comes Ruby Keeler for you. The Roaring 20s, Lillian Roth, your star is rising fast. Artists and models at 14. Billy Rose's Fifth Avenue Club at 15. Texas Guinan's Padlocks at 16. Earl Carroll's Vanities at 17. This is your life in the Prohibition era. And then, New Year's Eve, 1928. Now, you've just turned 17, Lillian. What happened that gay and boisterous night? Tell us.
Well, I think that was the first time my mother allowed me out as far as New Year's Eve party went. You know, I was still, Mother was always with me, God rest her soul, and she let me out with a boyfriend of mine who was my childhood boyfriend, and he brought some fermented prune juice to the stage entrance of the Earl Carroll Theater, and that was my first drink.
I see. And it actually had quite an effect on you, didn't it?
Well, I remember that evening getting very sick. It stands out in my mind, and I thought, well, that's enough of that.
And you slept it off the next day, and that night all was well again. The Love Parade. It's 1929, and you're 18, Lillian. Ernest Lubitsch has seen you at the Ziegfeld Roof and brings you to Hollywood to star with Maurice Chevalier. Talkies and musicals are a novelty, and you ride the crest of the wave. Now, we could name a score of pictures that you brought fame and brought you fame, but we'd rather have you recall them for us in song. How about it, Lillian? Come on over here, will you, to a setting that's familiar to you, and sort of sing a little medley for us, will you, of some of the songs that you made famous.
Dave Penner, that darling man. He went through so much with me.
Hello, Dave.
Oh,
Yes,
Dave,
come on up, Dave. Give a howdy-do here to Lillian. Okay, Dave,
really
you...
helped me out.
That's
so
great.
Many times.
Now, Von Urbanski and the orchestra is all set to go. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Lillian Roth.
Aren't you good? Well, I sang this in one of my first pictures.
Yeah.
You say And quite a bit before then, I think this one started my youthful singing career. Ain't she sweet, see you coming down the street, and ask you very confidentially, ain't she sweet? And then, Ralph, I had a lot of fun introducing this one. So you met someone who set you back on your heels. Goody, goody, you met someone and now you know how it feels. Goody, goody, hooray and hallelujah, you had it coming to you. Goody, goody for her, goody, goody for me. And I hope you're satisfied, you rascal, you. Ho, 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 ho. I hope you're satisfied, you rascal. You know, this was my very favorite song from the Vagabond King. Never try to bind me, never hope to know. Take me as you find me, love. Let me go. The lives we leave behind us change and fade away. Never mind, you may be mine danger when you serve a stranger and bow down to Burgundy. Sons of France surround us, break the chains that bind us, and down, down with Burgundy.
Thank you, Lillian Roth. No words can possibly recall the pinnacle you reached as do your song.
Thank you.
However, confusion, distress, and tragedy walked by your side even as you rose to the top. And soon all glamour was stripped from you as drink follows drink, and you sink into a stupor that was to last for 16 years. Now, these are the years to come before us in just a moment. But first, let me remind you, ladies, this is your last chance. Yes, your very last chance to try Complexion Glow at Hazel Bishop's expense.
Sound too good to be true? Well, here's the reason Hazel Bishop makes such a generous offer. Because right now, you may still be using an old-fashioned rouge and saying to yourself, that new kind of cheek color sounds pretty good. When I use up my box of rouge, I think I'll try it. But we don't want you to wait. We want you to try Complexion Glow right now. That's why Hazel Bishop gives you your first bottle free of extra cost when you buy your Hazel Bishop No Smear lipstick.
But, Ann, I know many women who say they wouldn't wear rouge for all the tea in China.
Oh, and I don't blame them. But girls, remember, Complexion Glow is not an old-fashioned rouge. It's a creamy liquid that smooths on so evenly and blends in so perfectly, it always looks natural. Never looks rouged. Yes, whether you use rouge or not, I know you have a thrilling experience ahead of you when you try Hazel Bishop's wonderful new Complexion Glow.
But we know there's only one way for you to be convinced. And that's for us to say, here, take this bottle of Complexion Glow and try it. Then you'll see the difference. Never be without Complexion Glow again. Yes, ladies, for this very last time we say, rush to your nearest drug, department, or variety store and get your 35-cent bottle of Complexion Glow absolutely free of extra cost when you buy Hazel Bishop No Smear lipstick. Both packaged together in the right shades for you, and both for the price of the lipstick alone. But remember, this offer will never be repeated again. So ask for this Hazel Bishop combination, the lipstick and the free Complexion Glow.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Well, Lillian, the happy young years of anticipation are behind us. Are you ready to go on through the cruel years that led you to the brink of suicide?
Well, if it will help someone, I am.
Okay, I'm sure it will, Lillian. This is your life, Lillian Roth. Now, these are the thirsty 30s, Lillian. Your picture career's in full bloom. The future's bright. Were there wild parties in Hollywood in those days? Is that what started you drinking, Lillian? Or?
No, no, there were no. In fact, as I told you, I was a mama's girl.
Yeah.
And I had a little young boy that I went with. It had nothing to do with parties.
I'm glad to hear you say that about Hollywood, that it isn't noted just for wild parties or anything. There was something else then, another cause that set you off.
I don't think it was the cause, really. I think the loss of her first love really gave her the excuse for drinking.
Now, do you recognize that voice, Lillian, that sounds like yours?
Yes, that's my sister.
Your sister Ann, who has been close to you all your life. She's now Mrs. Milton Merkin of New York, and here she is.
Oh, no. You don't make it. Oh, I'm so glad that you did.
Oh, gee,
I couldn't miss this for anything.
Ann,
So thrilling.
you kids still look pretty much like the pictures we've been watching there,
This is
too.
our first public appearance is 10 and 12.
Is that so, Lillian? Well, I'm sure Lillian won't mind if you tell us about her first tragedy, Ann.
Well, she was just about 18 and a half when she and this boy, David, we'll call him David,
all
fell
right.
madly in love, and they knew each other from Clark School when they were, children back in New York.
Sure.
But they fell in love out here, and he wasn't a well boy at all, was he, Lillian?
You used to take care of
Yeah.
him, Lillian, didn't you? Fix meals for him?
Yeah. And he became an actor's agent, and he booked her into the Palace, remember,
That's
Lillian?
right.
And he went on ahead of her, and oh, gosh, he was looking forward to seeing that show. He could hardly wait, but he never got there.
He didn't?
No.
By the time you got to New York, David was in the hospital, wasn't he, Lillian?
Mm-hmm.
And then one night, just as you were ready to go on stage, you got word that David was dying.
I don't know how she ever went on with that performance. She was singing, I'm flying high, I've got a feeling I'm falling, and I'll hold you in my dreams. You remember that? But by the time she got to the wings, he was gone. It was too late.
The hurt was deep, the memory lingered on, and you then turned to the false solace of excessive alcohol. Well, have a seat there, please, Ann, as we pursue the fateful years in Lillian's life. She is pretty. She's got a pretty sister, too. 1932. Your first marriage, consummated while under the influence of drink, is dissolved in drink. You're married again to a distinguished young New York judge. On your honeymoon to Miami, Florida, he opens your trunk and finds it filled with liquor. (1938). 6 years have passed, and your second marriage ends in divorce. Were you drinking heavily during this marriage, Lillian?
Well, Ralph, as I look back objectively now, I didn't realize what was happening. They say alcohol is cunning and baffling and powerful. I was young and I had great recuperative powers. I didn't seem to be doing anything that was wrong publicly or in any other way, but it seemed that I always needed to drink when someone else didn't, and it also seemed to be like medication to me at night. I used to like the way it put me to sleep right away, but after a while it just took too much to put me to sleep.
Did you ever want to or try to stop, Lillian?
Oh, yes, many times. I went off to milk farms. I went to several doctors, and...
Each time you'd try, some major or minor crisis would send you back to the bottle and to oblivion.
Yes.
Lillian had many such crises, especially with her third husband.
Now, whose voice is that, Lillian? Speaking to you out of 1940 now.
That nice, deep voice I
Yes,
get.
an old friend of yours on whom you leaned for support and who helped you because she understood your terrific problem, a friend you haven't seen in a long time, Lita Gray Chaplin.
So fine.
Hello, Lita. Lita, where did you first meet Lillian?
Well, we met in Hollywood a long time ago, didn't we, Lil?
Yes, darling.
And we became very good friends.
Mm-hmm.
She looks so pretty.
Doesn't she, though, there? Well, do
Lita
you
was
want to...
wonderful to me. Just wonderful.
What happened with the marriage that you were speaking about?
Well, the next time I heard from Lillian, I believe, was Chicago. I think you were in Chicago then.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Lillian at that time had a terrible fight with her husband, and he hit her and broke her jaw. She came out to me in California then. I was living in Balboa, remember?
And there were other similar instances, and that was the end of that marriage, but it only aggravated your real problem, Lillian, alcoholism. Lita Gray Chaplin, thank you for your part in the life of Lillian Roth.
Thank you for asking me.
1945, and we're back where we started in your story, Lillian. The nightmare of your third marriage has ended in merciful annulment. You're virtually alone now, sick almost beyond mending, your hazy mind full of wild and torturing imaginings. Katie, your mother, who has stood by you all these years, has to get a job. Your father, for whom you did so much in the happier days, dies in Boston. You're too drunk to go to the funeral.
Lillian and her mother kept the problem from Ann and me until it was almost too late.
Now, whose voice would that be, Lillian? Can you tell us? Your sister Ann's husband, Milton Merkin of New York. Come out. Here he is, Lillian. Yes, sir. What about Tally-Ho, she says, the president of the Tally-Ho Handbag Company.
Oh, darling.
When you found out what Lillian's real condition was, what did you do, Milton?
Well, we got together with a few of her very close friends, and we thought that we'd have to do something for her. And Lillian agreed to go to a mental institution, and we sent her there.
Wonderful. Good friends indeed. What were you going to say?
We sent her there, and she agreed to go herself.
Yes.
We didn't force her.
Well, thank you. Have a seat there, too, please. And Lillian's past, Milton Merkin, thank you. Thank you. Did your treatment at Bloomingdale help you, Lillian?
Well, I thought the doctor was awfully cute.
Don't you
yes.
feel you can only, what do you say? You can only help yourself. Is that it?
No, I don't really. I believe everybody. It reminds me of what, if I may just say
Yes.
a little something, Mauriac, the writer, says, we are molded and remolded by those who have loved us. And even though the love passes, we remain their work nevertheless.
Yeah.
And I think anyone that does you a kindness, even though the seed at that moment doesn't seem to take hold, it does at a later time. And I think Dr. Head told me very well and did all that he could, and he explained that I was an alcoholic and couldn't drink, but I just wasn't ready to understand.
Yes, and you're discharged at last. You return to New York, and it seems like everything is fine. Your heart is high with hope for a new life, another chance, and then, in a New York theatrical column, you read these words: an ex-singing star, a drunk, is being backed by Milton Berle on the comeback trail. What did you do, Lillian, when you read that?
Well, I thought I had kept it a secret, and I hadn't wanted anyone to know I was having a drinking problem or that I had been away, so I couldn't face people, and I went down to this apartment on 23rd Street and bought a half pint of liquor, and I thought, well, I haven't had anything to drink in so long, one won't hurt me.
You went into a drunken, solitary binge that reached its climax after 3 days on the 4th of July, 1946. It's 5 a.m. in the morning. Kids in the street below haven't started to shoot off their firecrackers yet. You're lying on the floor by the window. You haven't eaten in 3 days, only whiskey. The window seems to beckon to you. $2.65 in your purse, and after that, what? Your lips form the words, "Please, God, help me." Your hands reach the window ledge, and slowly, painfully, you pull yourself up. "Please, God, help me." You look down to the pavement below. It would be so easy. And suddenly, a change comes over you. When you come to, you find yourself on the floor in the middle of the room. Your prayer has been answered. What did you do then, Lillian?
Well, I got myself up and I called AA.
You go to their headquarters, right? In New York's Hell's Kitchen, only a few blocks from where you used to live as a child, and they take you in hand, watch over you, help you to help yourself. May I give you one? It's here at AA that you meet your present husband, Bert McGuire.
Bert.
And here is that wonderful guy now, Lillian, Bert McGuire. Oh, guys. You were an alcoholic, too. Is that right, Bert?
Yes, Ralph, I was. And Lillian, through our mutual problem, found a great love for each other. And I believe that we did get our mental sobriety, as I like to put it, Ralph, through God as we understand Him, and many anonymous friend who helped us very much and for which we are very grateful.
Yes. You did it together, didn't you?
Yes.
You and Bert. Lillian Roth, thank you for permitting us to recreate your life. How long has it been since you've had a drink?
Be 7 years.
Wonderful.
Just
Nearly
2
7
months.
years.
We stopped counting. It's so natural now.
But you serve alcohol in your home to your
Yes,
friends.
that's right.
Do you object to others drinking?
No, not at all, as long as it doesn't hurt them.
And you're back in show business now, aren't you?
Yes. I'm
Wonderful,
very
too.
grateful.
One sadness only mars your present joy, the passing of your beloved mother, Katie, in 1948. She thrilled at your success on the stage many times, Lillian, but her greatest thrill was your victory over yourself. How she would have gloried in your great comeback. Your monument to Katie are all the helpless people suffering as you did, whom you personally have saved. This is your life. The terrible nightmare is behind you, and your present is an inspiration to all. In the future, we know that your singing, Lillian Roth, will continue to bring joy and happiness to many. Well, as we say, ladies and gentlemen, we've shown you this. That's why you heard just a little bit of the film overlapping my voice. We're going to come back in just a moment. First, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say this word to the ladies. Remember, if you hurry to your nearest cosmetic counter, ladies, you can still get your first bottle of Complexion Glow absolutely free when you buy your Hazel Bishop No Smear lipstick.
Words can't describe the pleasant surprise that's ahead of you when you try Complexion Glow. I know the very first time you use this creamy liquid color for your cheeks and look in the mirror, you won't believe your eyes. And your friends will say, you never looked so wonderful.
Now, ladies, I know that may sound like so much advertising, but to prove it's true, Hazel Bishop offers you tonight, for the very last time, a beauty bargain you can't afford to pass up. Yes, offers you the 35-cent bottle of Complexion Glow free of extra cost when you buy your Hazel Bishop No Smear lipstick, and both for the price of the lipstick alone. But this offer positively will not be repeated again. So tonight or tomorrow, sure, get this Hazel Bishop combination, the lipstick and the free Complexion Glow.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, at the command of your thousands and thousands of requests, we have repeated the story of Lillian Roth. We respect and admire the courage of Miss Roth, who agreed to let us tell all. Now, she has asked me to thank all you wonderful people for your letters and for giving her inspiration for her great comeback career. She's presently singing at the Clover Club in Miami. She soon will be seen in many of the big television shows in New York, and her book, written with Mike Connolly, I'll Cry Tomorrow, showing how, with God's help, Lillian Roth overcame one of life's most serious problems. That book is soon to be published. Now, a telegram has come in during the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just brief it to you. At the Lord Tarleton Hotel tonight in Miami Beach, Florida, Lillian Roth is being given a testimonial dinner by Mayor Lee Powell and over 300 leading citizens of Miami Beach. She's being given the Miami Beach Humanitarian Award, the key to the city. She's being made honorary citizen and goodwill ambassador from Florida to the nation. God bless you, Lillian. Thank you, Miami Beach. Well, next week we have a humdinger lined up, and I promise you this one won't get away, ladies and gentlemen. So be with us next week for a most unusual This Is Your Life. All right, in the meantime, thank you from Hazel Bishop No Smear Lipstick. Good night, and thank you.
This Is Your Life is directed by Axel Gruenberg, produced by Alfred Pascal and Axel Gruenberg for Ralph Edwards. The musical director, Von Dexter. Technical director, Joe Kahn. Lighting director, Al Scarlett. Associate director, Richard Gottlieb. Audio engineer, Joe Kay. Video engineer, Gerald Ireland. Sets designed by Alfred Pascal. And again next week, This Is Your Life, starring Ralph Edwards, and brought to you by Hazel Bishop No Smear Lipstick, America's largest selling lipstick. And if you haven't tried it, you should right now. For at the same time, you get free of extra cost the 35-cent bottle of Complexion Glow.